Welcome back to Creating Your Own 18-Month IT Strategy Roadmap webinar series. We're moving forward now with the final part of this 4-part series. And what we'll cover is 3 out of 5 technology stacks, your goals and technology alignments, and we will complete your 18-month plan. Now let's move on discussing trends in network services. What we've seen in 2024, which continues in 2025, is that businesses are prioritizing network reliability, cost optimization, and performance enhancements. So there are 3 trends that we've been seeing in our organization. The first one is about striving for 100% uptimes. Connectivity remains crucial for businesses because any internet connection or data connectivity allows businesses to connect to crucial cloud applications such as banking, CRM, and collaborative platforms. Unfortunately, still to this day, on an average, companies experience 5 network outages each year. And according to Gartner, the average downtime could cost small to medium-sized businesses $5,600 per minute. So to mitigate this, companies are increasingly investing in redundant systems and advanced monitoring solutions by implementing 4 or 5G backup services. The second trend we've been seeing is bandwidth and network services cost optimization, where businesses audit their bills and lower their network services costs. Did you know that Broadband Now reported that over the past decade, the cost of a fiber connection has steadily decreased, with prices falling by 19% nominally from 2015 to 2024. And if we adjust that for inflation, it would be a 39% price drop. So what we're seeing right now is as network costs decrease, businesses change circuit type or provider and reallocate some of the savings to other priorities like cybersecurity. The third trend we're seeing is the continued popularity of SD-WAN adoption and its benefits. SD-WAN, which is software-defined wide area network, is not as well known, but it continues to gain traction because it helps improve network performance. It manages traffic more effectively and ensures redundancy. So for example, Gartner is reporting that Verizon has an SD-WAN solution which enables clients to prioritize critical traffic and improve application performance by up to 80%. So let's continue to explore some options with 3 network services providers that offer solutions perfectly suited for small and medium-sized businesses. First up, we have Spectratel. Spectratel is a privately owned New Jersey-based national aggregator, and they provide an all-in-one solution called Office in a Box. This solution simplifies network services and IT management because it includes managed network services with a primary and secondary connection, a cloud communication setup, basic cybersecurity, and an SD-WAN. As a result, this solution tends to work well for retail and geographically dispersed organizations as well as small businesses. Next up would be Spectrum, and Spectrum has an offering called the Spectrum Business Home Office Bundle. I learned of this solution through the Spectrum Partner Program, which my organization, First Light Cloud Exchange, participates in. I think it's a wonderful solution for home-based businesses or for remote workers because one can obtain a 300 megabit internet connection along with a UC seat and mobile for 12 months for just $69.98. The third provider I wanted to mention is Natural Wireless. I chose to mention this provider here because the network services technology they use is microwave-based. The advantage of microwave is that there are no underground wires involved, and unlike with cellular or satellite services, this service offers high availability and service levels, along with internet attack protection against DDoS attacks and real-time monitoring for optimal performance. The only thing required with fixed wireless internet is a clear line of sight with the base tower, which can be quickly assessed by the company. Natural Wireless is available in the 5 boroughs of New York and in northern New Jersey. Now let's move on to discussing the duration and investment involved in upgrading your network services. Most executive teams are familiar with implementation processes around network services. However, I felt it was worth mentioning one more time. So if you're looking for a complete overhaul of your network services and you have 25 users, the overall interval is between 1 to 6 weeks, and it could extend up to 3 to 6 months when looking at a fiber circuit. So it depends upon the type of technology that you're ordering. Your internal project manager will be engaged for approximately 20 to 40 hours, depending upon the complexity of the solution. With SpectraTel, if you're replacing your current broadband SD-WAN, your second circuit, and your unified communication, you're looking at a potential savings of 15%. But if an organization is adding on a second circuit and an SD-WAN, there could be a threefold increase of the network services bill. However, the redundancy one is looking for would be obtained. With natural wireless, if natural wireless becomes a second circuit, the network services cost would increase by twofold approximately. But if organizations are replacing the primary data circuit, they could save up to 5% with natural wireless. Now let's move forward with discussing trends in unified communications and the omnichannel and communications in general in 2025. The trends that we've been seeing in 2024, which will extend into 2025, are the tweaking of services around unified communications, as this type of technology has fully matured and the majority of businesses have implemented unified communications as a service. So what's important right now is managing shadow IT and optimizing the existing platforms through UC monitoring. This could include tweaking call flows, reviewing license usage, removing old hardware, getting apps on the go for each and every team member, and to make sure that onboarding and offboarding is well organized, for example. Another aspect of telecom would be the POT situation where the PSTN has been retired, meaning the PSTN network will be obsolete at one point in the future. And as such, if organizations still have copper wires, they tend to look at a replacement because it's more cost prohibitive. In the mobile space, organizations are currently looking at proactive mobile management, where they plan revisions that lead to cost control, such as device management and pooling of calling plans, making sure that pricing is optimized. The second trend is to communicate where customers are. So in 2025, customers expect to communicate with businesses on the channels that they prefer. So that could be WhatsApp or Facebook, SMS, or Zoom or Google Meet. And because of this, the UCaaS and CRM platforms that are leading in the US market space now seamlessly integrate with these channels. And so we're seeing a lot of clients asking for these kinds of applications. Our third trend is to make sure that the communication platforms are now sources of revenue and cost reduction. And this can be enabled through AI and automation. In particularly, the billing process could be fully automated, and one could leverage AI to summarize meetings or analyze conversations. So for example, Zoom now offers AI-powered tools for meetings transcription and follow-ups, and that helps businesses automate administrative tasks. On this visual, I want to share an example of a smartphone app that's part of the cloud system, which fully replaces a desktop app and a desktop phone, which is something a lot of our clients have been asking for. And I also wanted to include some statistics around communicating with customers where they are, which is showing that WhatsApp is the most popular global mobile messenger app. Let's continue now with 4 outstanding providers in the omnichannel and communication space. First up is RingCentral. RingCentral is a market leader in unified communications as a service and offers robust cloud-based phone systems that are ideal for remote teams. And this organization is praised for its competitive features and offers user-friendly interface and high-quality calls. Its drawbacks are that they are slightly higher priced and their cost structure is slightly different than most other providers, and certain plans may involve longer contract terms. Next up, we have Dialpad. This provider caters to businesses of all sizes, but shines with its AI-powered features like real-time call transcription and sentiment analysis. So Dialpad is a top pick for enhancing customer interactions and boosting sales teams' performances. However, it also comes with some drawbacks. There are extra costs for toll-free numbers, for example, and there are shared numbered limitations, and users have reported that there are limitations that affect teamwork. I wanted to move on to Metal now. Metal is a provider that can offer turnkey packages that include unified communications, POTS replacements, and cellular services. They offer budget-friendly solutions with decent performance and competitive prices. And this privately owned New York-based provider has been around for quite a long time, and the experience that they have in the telco space shines through. Lastly, I wanted to mention Smart Action by Capacity, because this company offers human-like AI-powered virtual agents. And they're specialized in automating billing processes and handling repetitive inquiries, as well as scheduling and reservation and filing claims. This is where AI can truly shine and automate a big part of telephony. Let's dive into the omni-channel communications, project duration, and investments. Most executives have experience with overhauling their communication systems, and a complete overhaul for 25 users tends to be between 3 to 9 weeks. And the internal project manager will be engaged quite a bit with between 30 to 60 hours of work that is required. Prices in this space continue to drop, so if one is replacing cell phones and legacy PBXs, one could be saving 15% with RingCentral, and with Smart Action, one could be saving up to 66%. And the same goes for other UCaaS providers. If your company is choosing to switch, however, from one unified communication provider to the next, an additional savings of about 2 to 5% could also be gained. Let's move on to the last technology stack I would like to discuss here, which would be hardware lifecycle management. Mentioned in this stack because it's often overlooked, yet can be a source of cost savings. If we replace a laptop, for example, for a staff member before it breaks down, this could potentially lead to a 15 to 20% increase in productivity, because if an employee has to wait several days before a new device comes in, this will slow them down. Hardware management improves compliance and enhances security, and it can potentially decrease security incidents by 30 to 40%, because timely updates and proper decommissioning processes can help. One it includes is visual that is showing lifespan of equipment. So if we look at this overview, we can see that there are 10 different types of equipment to keep track of, as well as different replacement cycles for each. So by managing around the lifespan, it's easier to anticipate replacement and manage investment. Now let's discuss the cost savings that can be realized through strategic hardware lifecycle management. And I have gathered a concrete example here. By hanging on to IT equipment beyond 3 years, where repairs and upgrade costs begin to factor in, devices could actually cost up to 20% more than they would have if they had been replaced within 36 months. We've now covered 5 IT stacks, and I wanted to return to your spreadsheet to continue working on your plan, or perhaps you could follow along. So we're asking the next question now. If we're looking at the next 18, 24, and 36 months, but in particularly to the next 18 months, which technology will support your goals? So when we're taking a look at your spreadsheet and the goals that you've outlined before, are there perhaps some technologies that I mentioned prior or that you have in mind that could help you meet your goals? Perhaps you could now estimate how long each step will take and when you could block off some time to implement these projects. Who are the stakeholders that will be involved? Who can support you with tweaking your plan? And which aspects will need more research? So what we're looking to do now is fill out the second column, the business IT capabilities column, to get closer to completing the sheet. The last section to complete would be the roadmap and timeline column. And at the bottom, there's a place to fill out the enabling changes and initiatives, as well as the key dependencies. So we will allow between 15 to 20 minutes for this exercise. Great, the spreadsheet has been completed. A plan is in place. Of course, you'll need some more time to fine-tune it, but the hard work is done. The framework is in place. I wanted to take a moment now to digest and harvest your findings. So what did you become aware of? How can you ensure your organization will implement the desired IT technologies? How can you hold your team accountable for making the listed goals a reality? And by your team, I obviously mean your IT vendors, your suppliers, and consultants as well. To close off this webinar, I wanted to share a little bit more information, and I found various websites for you which might be helpful in this process. The SBA, for example, offers further resources around creating a technology plan for your business, so it could be worth looking into. I've included a cybersecurity resource from the FCC as well, which will support the safety of your data, as cybersecurity management is of utmost importance these days. Please do also take advantage of the tools that First Light Cloud Exchange has made available to the public and can be found on our website. We have a return on investment and total cost of ownership calculated there, for example. Thank you so much for your time.